I see that for a second? I need that for 1 second, please. Give me 1 minute. Just let me see something. I'm trying to look for something. I don't know. How's it going, Felicia? How are you? Welcome in, welcome in. So, I thought that I did something, but maybe my phone didn't do it. I thought I set my, well, that's not touch me. Okay, so what I am going to discuss today is something that I started discussing the other night. And I'm going to kind of go back over. Here you go. Thank you. Here you go. So I'm going to basically I'm just going to start off. Welcome to Skull and Soul. And tonight, our discussion is going to be about our current, like our weight, how much weight we have lost currently and where we are, and whether we're in a stall or, or not, or have we reached our limits of what's set by the research that was given prior to, that was given by both Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk regarding their research that they did on this particular study. So, Felicia, can you hear me okay? Just let me know. If not, I'm just going to take it like, yes, you can hear. But yeah, so a few of the things is that depending on what medication you're on, whether it was Ozempic, Mounjaro, right? Because those are in the same category for diabetics. Or if you are on Wegovy, or thank you, Felicia, Wegovy or Zepbound, there's research regarding those results of the percentage weight loss that should be given and over what time frame that it should be given. Hi, Kim, welcome in. And what we want to do is we want to take our starting weight and multiply it out by that percentage to see how much weight loss we should have had. Like if you lost more than 20%, or have you lost at least 22%. And why is that important? Because again, we also have to keep in mind that that's the average weight loss, right? So there are some people who was in that clinical trial who went above the 22%. If it was, and when I'm saying 22%, I'm just basically pushing it out there that Zepbound and Mounjaro is at that 22% mark at over a year and a half, right? So when we're thinking, even when we're starting, you can go back to the clinical studies. There's some people who didn't lose a lot in that first trial, right? If you go back and look at the research that was done, and you get to see that when we're doing this and you start off and the medication's not in your system yet, you don't start to lose right away, right? And some people, they do, right? Some people, they start to lose that, I always say it's water weight. That's how I think of it. But their body gets more and get more like stabilized at some point. And then, the weight loss begins. That's, again, like I said, I'm looking at the average people. But again, there's some people who get on this and they just start to lose right away, right? And they consistently lose it. Some people fall in that category, others don't. Some people, they lose right away, and then they come to get to a point because they might have met their average percentage for what medication you're on, right? And same thing if you're on a compound, right? You take the branding that you're on, right? And you look at the research that was done based on that branding. Same thing for when you're thinking about any type of compound. But think if you're going to do your research, research on the branded name, the medication that it is. Not like, when I'm saying branded, I don't mean like Zepbound. I mean like Semaglutide, right? If it's Semaglutide, you want to do research on Semaglutide, who did the research on that? Find different companies who have done research on that, right? And that's how you're going to have a base to understand the time frame. And also people on Wegovy, when I was doing my research, I found that their weight loss doesn't get to about 20% until they're at the highest doses of 2.4. And so 2.4 I'm trying to think what that's equivalent to on the like Eli Lilly side. I think if I'm right, it's might be maybe a 12.5 or maybe a 10. If anybody knows in the chat of what that like equivalents to, like you can please let me know. I don't know, so I don't I tried to go back and look at people who were on Wegovy, but I had got different numbers that people who were on Wegovy at the highest dosage, right? At the 2.4, and then they switched over to Eli Lilly. So they went from Novo Nordisk to Eli Lilly. And I was trying to get a substantial amount of data that can help me understand what is it equivalent to, but it was kind of, and then the internet had things, but also maybe it's based on what it could be maybe multiple different factors that's helping you get to that conclusion, right? Felicia says, I heard it was only on the highest dose too. Yeah, that was their highest dose. Yeah. Yep. That was only on their highest dose. Yeah. So only on their highest dose that you're losing at that percentage. And so again, if you met that mark and just say you started with Wegovy and you met that percentage mark and then you just went to plateau, then the medication has done its job, right? So you moving over, if you have to, your doctors, again, let me make sure I say that disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I'm speaking about my journey, research that I've done based on my journey and what I have read on other people's journeys, and also things that has been published by research studies on these medications. So I don't pretend to be a doctor. I am not a doctor and I'm not providing any medical advice to anybody. Talk to your provider on what works best for you and your body. So people who switch over from Wegovy to Zepbound, maybe they need that extra boost because of two things. What does Wegovy... Okay, hold on. Kim says, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've heard that Wegovy 2.4 is like Zepbound 7.5. Okay, thank you for that. That's great information for me, and for everyone else. So, like, that is like most important, right? That we understand where we are in our journey and understanding that there could be multitude like of factors that come in play. But if that's what it is, that's good information to know. So we have it that, if you need that extra, because we know that the Wegovy in on that side where there's Novo Nordisk, there's only one agonist. I think it's like the GLP, but then on Zepbound there's two, right? And they're working on the one with three, right? So let's know that sometimes we might need more because we have met with research that says so. Sometimes you hear people say like, hey, I had to go over here, but it's sometimes not that the medication was bad for them or it didn't work. It did its job up until the point that it needed to do, and now they need to go to something different to continue their journey, right? And then so when you go to that next set, me personally, I'm saying you're now starting at the time that you switched over to that medication. Now your percentage is starting over. Again, this is just me doing numbers. That's how I would do it, right? Somebody else may not agree with me, but that's how I would do it, Michelle. So you look at that time frame, that period, and you then say, once you get to your highest at this and that, like, for Wegovy, and then you switch over to, Eli Lilly, two different medications. You look at the research, it's done its work. What are you going to do? So it's sometimes we have to change it. And I spoke about it before. We are going to have to make the change and change something in us. And maybe, maybe that means looking at our food habits, seeing a nutritionist. Maybe it could be that, hey, I don't go to the gym. I'm going to need to start going to the gym. Yes, the one hormone peptide might not be enough versus, yep. So it depends on, it depends. It may, you might have that one versus that two. And some people might be waiting they're still doing research on the one that provides three. So we need to know that this is revolving. As time goes on, it's expanding, right? Because the more research that we have, the more we're able to help more people. And then they're also able to get more data for the people that's on it. We hear different things coming out all the time about, oh wow, it's helping with cancer, It's helping with your liver. It's helping with your kidneys. It's helping with different organs, helping with your heart. You know, this study says, you know, this medication is better on, Wegovy has a better number than, I think they said Wegovy has a better number than Zepbound when it comes to heart. You know, but that kind of stuff, you really have to do your research, because maybe you have heart, but then you have something else. So then maybe if you do your risk assessment, it may be that, you know, maybe the Zepbound may be better, but maybe the Wegovy may be better, you know? So you want to definitely talk to your provider to make sure you have an understanding. Hello, Eli, how are you? How are you, Vanity? How are you? So just make sure that, you know, you look into it and for yourself and just see what's working better. And then there's other medications that you can substitute or add to, right? Like this phentermine, I believe, can be added with your GLP-1. I believe there's like 4 or 5 other medications that can be added with it. And that's something you have to have a conversation with your provider. If you have met the clinical studies of what they said the percentages are that you're supposed to lose, and you have lost it and you think you're in a stall, you may not be in a stall. You may have met if, again, this is outside of the diabetics, because this is a diabetic medication, right? That they're utilizing it and has been utilized for weight loss. I understand it's been FDA approved for weight loss, FDA approved for sleep apnea and other things. So I'm not going against what the FDA approved it for, but essentially it was a diabetic medication. So those people who are on it and they have diabetes, their situation might be slightly different, but then they can still supplement it with other things if their doctor allows it. And so we have to look into those things and just continue to move forward, right? Figure out what works for you. What did I say for myself? Is like, you know, some people say, well, they get on it, and because they hear all of this stuff about, oh, it stops your appetite, right? It stops, oh, you can, okay, so Felicia says, I heard that Wegovy only targets the one gastric emptying versus Zepbound with slow gastric emptying plus the brain portion of food noise. Yeah, I hear that too. That the food noise, people always talk about the food noise, and I think that's something that we get very accustomed to, is the food noise part of it. And but it's also like, when, like I said, when that number stops and you reach there and that food noise is there. So, you know, if we get to the maximum, which there's some people at 15 and there's some people not yet there, or some people will never get there because they're satisfied with their dose that they're on. But at 15, I'm only going based on research. At the 15 mark, that's the highest dose of Zepbound and Mounjaro. And then at the 2.4 for Wegovy, and I know we don't really have the food noise component there, but if at that point the medication stops, what are we going to do? And that's the reality. Look at the percentages. Hi, how are you, Denzel? Diesel. How are you, Diesel? Look at the research to determine where you are. Am I 18%? Or am I already at that mark? And even if you got to 18% and you started to stall, it's an average. Meaning there were some people who may got, like on Eli Lilly's side, it's at 20, I think it's close to 22% weight loss, right? On average. On average means that there were some people who were lower, some people who were higher, right? And then it met in the middle at that number, right? So, you know, focus on that and be like, I think there's you can do a calculation online. There's probably there's different calculations you can do online to see how much weight would be, put your starting weight in, how much would be 25%. You can ask ChatGPT for yourself to do the calculation for you if you're not math savvy. You don't have to be. Let the computer do the work for you. Say, hey, my starting weight was this. I'm on this medication based on research studies. What is my targeted weight loss based on this? And they might give you a number. And can you exceed that? Just know that I'm saying that you can exceed it. But if you stop in between, or you become unbalanced in between, just know that you can pick yourself back up, okay? Another thing is, I do want to make sure that I talk about is like your mindset, right? Because, you know, sometimes we might like be so focused on the next person's results that we lose focus on our results. And by the way, everybody, I had to change up my hat. So, because my daughter was saying that my hat, she couldn't tell which videos were new or old. So, I'm going to put her on the spot. So, I changed up my hat today. Okay? But, anyways, that's a side note. And so basic, I kind of got off track with that, but I know, right? That's funny. So basically, you know, you want to make sure that you are really like focusing on you, right? You're focusing on all the stuff that's going on with you. You're focusing on your health. I heard that Tirzepatide, the triple agonist, let me just say that, will only, I have a problem with like reading and spelling, so will only work if you have never been on GLP-1. I hope that's not true. Some people who have reached the max dose of GLP-1 in general, yeah, because some people may need it, you know. I don't know. They'll probably have different guidelines once it's actually, the research is already done. When the research is fully completed. I mean, there's people trying it right now, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're supposed to, but it's happening. I mean, there's people who's on the clinical trials who's trying it, who's that's okay. But then there's also the other side. I guess they're calling that the black market, right? Like they're going a different avenue to get it. So I don't know. I don't recommend that anybody do that. They should definitely wait to it come out and market and make sure that it's safe when it's safe to use. But yeah, so just making sure that we focus on our own journey. You know, we really hone in on what is happening with ourselves, what is happening with our bodies, right? And how does your body feel at that point in time on that dose that you're on? You know, how does it feel? Like, you know, I have an adverse effect to some medication. So it may say it's doing one thing, but sometimes I have an adverse reaction. So I stay away from certain things. So even if somebody was to recommend or tell me, I know in my head, I'm going to always listen to them, but I know from my body, I can't take that. And so learn you. So like we're like this, looking out like this, pointing our fingers this way. We need to turn it back, right? And look internally at ourselves and say, you know, what are we taking? What do we need to improve on? And to take, like I said before, we're going to take baby steps to get there, right? And then, but our mindset is very important because, you know, if you focus so much on you, how did you get to your 100 pounds? How did you get to your 20 pounds? How did you get to your 30 pounds? I don't care if it took you 2 years to get to whatever number and you expect it to be at a like some other goal that you set for yourself. It's always good to set goals. It's not like it's not attainable, but we also have to adjust with our bodies. This is our bodies. Our bodies are temple. We don't want to push more on our bodies than what it can bear, right? Like we don't want to do that. We want to treat our body like our temple. So we want to be careful what we're ingesting in and what we're receiving even from others, right? So if you're receiving something from others that's not good for you and you know it's not something you should be going down, for example, me, right? I got pushed over to Wegovy, right? And I knew that I could not take that medication because it has an active ingredient in it that I cannot have. So with that said, what did I do? I let them do what they had to do and switch me over and tell me that I got to switch. And I kindly went to my allergist and tried to talk to them, but also did additional research from when I was in the hospital and found the name of everything and I knew I couldn't take that medicine. If I took that medicine, who knows what could happen. So, you know, I have a rare allergy and I'm not gonna inject myself with it just because you're forcing me to. So know your own body. Yes, hone in on what Felicia says. Yes, hone in on what the GLP is doing for you in this moment. Learn from it while you can, just in case you lose access and stop the medication. That's a great point, Felicia. I'm gonna read that again because I want to make sure that it was heard. So Felicia said, yes, hone in on what the GLP is doing for you in this moment. Learn from it while you can, just in case you lose access or stop the medication. And that's important. That is key. That's a very, very, very strong statement. Very strong statement. Because we actually could lose access, and then what? Then what's going to happen? Hi, Mardell. Hi, Teddy. How are you? That's a very great point, Felicia, that we definitely, understand what this medication is doing for us. And that's like when I presented that, like, I take Plume and things like that, and there's like one of them is like Hunger Taker and Hunger Houdini. That really helps with your appetite. And I know that, I don't want to like gravitate to food or even think about that kind of stuff. If there's just vitamins that I can possibly take to help me if I lose access, I will pay for my vitamins if I have to. So understanding like your ups, your downs, your trigger points, right? And I can say for myself, one of my key trigger things for me was that, like, before this medication, I was like, since I lost my gallbladder, I was like bleeding nonstop, like heavy, bad bleeding, like bad bleeding. And, when I tell you right now that I don't want to go back there. I don't know what I didn't even know this medication was going to help me with that. I literally was on this medication for my OSA, obstructive sleep apnea. I had no idea that it was going to do all the things it did. I didn't know that. I really didn't. So I'm thankful for it, because I never want to go. I never want to go back to that. I don't want to see that again. So if that means me doing it at like even if I have to somehow, some way, just continue to pay for compound, I will. I do not want to lose access to have to go backwards. I don't want to do that for myself. So Felicia says not talking to the diabetics through, because they need this medication 1,000%. Correct. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. That's why I made sure I said that in between that. Yeah, when it comes to the diabetics, that's different, because, they definitely 100% needs this medication. It is a diabetic medication. But then also, some of this can pertain to some people that are diabetic. Have a seat. Because it could pertain to some of the people that's diabetic, because they could supplement it with other things, right? So just say they're at a dose and their doctor wants them to stay there for whatever, their doctor wants to put them down for whatever, and they still have the food noise, they can supplement it with like a Plume or something, or maybe like a phenamine or any other kind of medication that they're on, but they have to consult with their doctor. So some of it is yes, I'm talking to diabetics, and some of it just depends on the content. But great point, Felicia. Kim says, I hope not either, because many are looking forward to the new meds coming out. Exciting just knowing it's expected, especially those that are capped out already under current GLPs. Yes, I agree. And so like opening up access with it will be great. And I think that's what a lot of stuff is going on, because have a seat. I think that's why like a lot of things are going on with the compounding right now, is because of what's coming forward, right? So the things that are coming forward, if a judge is stopping it now to say that compounds can still like make this medication, compound pharmacies, most likely that's going to happen with the future medication, because we don't know the price mark that they're going to put this medication at, right? And hi, Mary, how are you? Thank you for stopping in. We don't really know the price mark that this medication, where it's gonna where it's like gonna stick at, right? We really don't know. They may try to put it most likely higher than what they're already paying for Zepbound and Mounjaro, right? And how much access is that gonna leave other people to have, and if they really need it, if they can afford it, right? So I do appreciate, and this is my own opinion, again, I appreciate the compounding pharmacies who are truly there to help this community. You know, not trying to take advantage of, but actually help. Trying to follow the guidelines that they're set by their pharmacy, right? Because they have licenses. These people who are producing this medication, I don't care if it's 50, is it 501As or 503As or 503B pharmacies? I don't really care what it is. They have regulations that they're supposed to follow. They're all supposed to be licensed. They have regulations. They probably have different regulations that they have to follow, because the A's follow, they're supposed to do it based on person to person. It's supposed to be individualized scripting. The B's is batching. So they're batching. So the medication that you're getting is batched. And so either way, it has to be approved and it has to be regulated in some form. Different regulations, but still regulated. So I don't want access to go away. And I know we're kind of gearing left based on the comments, but I don't want access to go away for the people that really, really, really needs this medication. If they already maxed out or they need to get on the thing that has the 3-acting. If they need that, I want it to be available and accessible for them, because that's what's fair, right? And so that's important. And like I said, number one, double check your percentage, because that's what we first talked about first. And if you didn't catch it, you can always check the replay. And what percentage, if anybody knows their percentage of weight loss that they have so far, that they've gotten, you know, so far on whatever medication you're on, if you can just put it below, that'd be great. Just so if you could do a quick calculation behind the scenes, that's great. If not, you know, later if you come back, you can always put it below your percentage of weight loss that you have so far lost. And then, you know, look at, like, you know, whether you're in a stall or you're not, or are you consistently losing. You know, that's awesome, because there was people that still in the studies that lost more than 22%, right? And so that's, and again, I'm basing my numbers based on more of Eli Lilly than Novo Nordisk. So just make sure you take a look at where you are and then get a feel of, like, you know, how you're losing. And then when you get on your maintenance dose, because everybody's like waiting for that moment, right, when we can say, hey, we got to our goal, we got to our goal weight or our goal look, whatever side you're on, right? Because we got different people doing different things. Some people are looking at their weight, and for the people who are on diabetics, they're looking at their A1Cs. They're making sure that their health is good. And a lot of us should be making sure our health is good, actually. But I'm saying there's some people who are strictly looking at Also, Felicia responded and said, I'm at 27.1% and still losing, but it is slowing down, which is expected. Okay, I got you. Okay, but you're going to continue to lose. We're going to figure this out together as a community. Everybody's going to work together to figure this out. Or when the third one comes out and you need it, it's going to be available to you. I'll definitely keep that in prayer. So, and we're at different stages in our journey, and so it's just interesting to see, like, the people who started out in their journey and then where they are. It's like a different generation, right? The people who are kind of like in the beginning and started in the last year, they're like in the beginning stages. And then, you know, you got people who's been here, you know, a year plus or 2 or 3, and then you get to see, like, now, like, the people who started out like maybe years ago, they're now in their maintenance stage and they're now getting all their surgeries, like, if they choose to, right? So now they're like introducing us to their journeys that's on the maintenance dose. And then they're also introducing us to, like, cosmetic surgery on our bodies if we feel like, you know, we need to get any, like, skin removals and things like that. So it comes in phases, right? And that's the beauty of this, is that, you know, what we leave behind is for the next set of people who get on this medication and just say they don't qualify for certain ones. They're going to come back and look and reflect off of the different things that happen to us on this journey and where we are, right? How far did we go on it? Oh, sorry. I apologize. Oh, he doesn't like he doesn't like certain noises. Okay, so yes, I love seeing the maintenance people, seeing them get surgeries to transform their bodies. Yes, yes, yes. So it's like amazing. Like we may not be like quite there yet, but we're gonna be, we're most likely, some of us are gonna be there, whether it's just maintenance or whether we need surgery, right? We're gonna be there. So all right, so that was the topic. I do want to share like a little side story. If Nipsey allows me to, I might have to get permission. So basically, I think I shared with you like in the beginning. I don't know what this is. Oh, okay. How do I get this down? Oh my gosh, I don't know what I did. Okay, I pressed the button. I don't know what I was doing. But so side story. So this part of the content was basically the live part that I wanted to discuss and I wanted to get to. But yesterday, I thank you all for all your sincere like comments and prayers and all of that. I really do just want to tell everybody thank you. Even if you didn't get a chance to write a comment, or even if you just liked it and you said your silence, like, get wells and stuff like that. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So again, that was a partially like why like I've started my channel, was a couple of reasons. One of them was because of him, because like I know, for one, between him and my dad, they probably wanted me to have somebody that I could talk to. Normally, me coming in here, teaching and conversating with you guys would be something I would be doing with them, right? So this is my outreach of speaking and being transparent. But I like to give credit when credit is due, and someone called me last night, and I never mentioned her because, again, I'm just kind of like, I like to respect people, and I never know if I can share or I can't share. That's the type of person I am. I don't like to overshare. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends. So, and I laugh because if you really get to know me, I'll probably overshare. But on this platform, I probably won't as much. So let me get to it. So, when I got my gallbladder removed, I met a nurse, and she happened, like, I forgot something happened in my room or when I was at bedside, and I had a lot of complications. I was actually, gallbladder is usually like a day worth of, or sometimes you're in and out. I was actually in the hospital for almost 2 weeks, I think, for my gallbladder. So okay, so Kim J said at my lowest I had 30. Oh, at my lowest I had lost 30.03. At most current recorded weight, it's 27.67. I gained a little back since I was eating more carbs to control my sugars lows for right now until I titrate it back to 5 milligrams. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah. I'm sorry if I read that wrong. So, I'm gonna read that again. Kim J said, at my lowest, I had lost 30.03. At the most of my current weight loss, I lost 27.67. I gained a little back since I was eating more carbs to control my sugars lows for right now until I titrate back to 5 milligrams. So that is amazing, Kim, too. Wow. So that's amazing. So it's good for us to look at these numbers. It gives us like some true perspective of how much weight loss that we have had currently. And so, like I was saying, it's just basically my nurse, basically when she walked in, I was like, oh, hey, sis. And so we kind of connected. We went to, I got out, we met up before she left, and we had lunch together. and actually attended a speaking engagement that she told me that I was a great speaker by talking to me on the phone. And I actually shared some of my journey with her. She shared some of my doctor was very pleased today with my progress also. That's amazing, Kim. Congratulations. I'm so happy to hear that. And so me and the nurse conversed, and she shared her journey with me. I shared my journey with her. And she actually was very inspirational for me just to hear her talk. At the time, my dad had already passed, and so it was good just to go ahead and like have a conversation with her all together. And then once I had that conversation, she actually pushed me, and I think in my first video I talked about it. She pushed me to go live on my dad's anniversary. And I did. And I recorded the video on Facebook. And it's not there. I don't know. She said she was going to check on her side and see if she had anything. But I did. I went out to the state that she lives in and did a whole, the conference that she had, it was amazing. We changed so many women's lives in that. I would say maybe it was a conference. It was more like a retreat. So we had a women's retreat. It was beautiful. The Lord was present. It was so nice. She was explaining to me last night, that some of those people have got back in contact with her and doing so well. And we were just reflecting back on that. She was telling me how self-reflection was like, that was like key. We were talking about the frog and how I made the frogs at her house. And I was at Hobby Lobby and I was asking her, I was picking up frogs, and I went to her house and I put it together at her house and was writing on the buckets, because it was like a second. I gotta get one and show you, but it's on like a pink bucket and then the frog is on top. And it's like, and she was telling me that it was like, cause she's also part of like a sorority, and I think they have like frogs. I believe I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm not gonna say, because it's one of them. I just don't know what. And so, and it was the colors. So I think it's AKA, because it was pink and green. So, and we were talking about that, and I made the frogs at her house, and I said forever relying on God, and she was like, I still got my frog. I'm like, okay. So we were laughing about that last night, and I needed just that. She was like, it was just funny that she called me on that day and we connected, because I tried to call her and then she called me back. But I say all that to say, she's the one that has like that, my banner, and it says self-reflection. She made that part for me years ago. And I just was like, I'm not reinventing the wheel. And I told her last night, I said, I sent her a couple videos, and I was telling her that I was on I said Zepbound first, and then I'm switched over to Mounjaro. And she was just like, sis, like, me too. And so we had a great conversation, and we both started in March, and we haven't talked to each other in so long. So I was just like so thankful and so blessed at the same time. I was like literally in tears last night, because she always finds a way to touch my soul, like no matter what. Like, oh my gosh, like she has the reason. So I say that to say the reason why I'm out here giving my story and talking about it is because like she pushed me the first time to be that person, to speak your story. She was like, you have such a strong story and I need you to get out and start talking it. When I had to speak even at her retreat, I was so nervous and everything to speak at the retreat in front of people. And long story short, she actually changed my topic when I was on the plane. So I got on the plane to go to Mississippi. I knew I had all my stuff written out. I was all prepared, ready to go. Like, oh yeah, I can't wait to say this thing. And then what happened? She just like, I got on the plane. She was like, oh yeah, by the way, I changed your topic. I was like, what, huh? So it all worked out at the end. And then last night she confessed to me and said, sis, I knew about, I think she said either a week or two before you got on that plane that I changed your topic. But I didn't want to you was already so nervous about coming. I didn't want to give you any reason to turn back around. So she waited till I got on the plane and told her I was taking off to tell me that she changed my topic. long story short, again, it was just such a like beautiful thing because the message that I brought forth touched so many people when I spoke. Even the hour I was supposed to speak wasn't even the same hour that we planned for me to speak. So everything just turned out great. I told her that I'm gonna bring her on this channel for her to speak. Um, Very inspirational person. She's amazing. And, you know, I don't know if she's watching, but she probably will watch the replay because she's already saying, sis, you know, I was supposed to be the first person on your page. You sis, you know, you should have been contacting me, sis. I was like, I haven't. She's like, all these people on your page already, and you just now telling me. And I said, well, they're my cousins and stuff. And she was like, I feel sis. So she's with love all the time. But just know that, you know, at the end of the day, everything is like working out. And even if you haven't talked to people, they're still shining for you. And, you know, I don't know. It's something about her that I feel like we just have like a really good connection. And I needed that because I had a I would say a tough month. But I'm so thankful for all of my new subscribers. I'm so thankful for everyone. I have a whole list of things that I haven't did because the days I was just stuck in bed and not, you know, emotionally just not connected with myself and everything around me, but still trying to stay connected to the community and trying to watch people's videos, trying to be supportive of others, trying to show who I really am in the midst of my sorrow. It was so hard for me. It was really hard. And I mean, you're talking about days of me just sitting here like crying and just like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna figure this out? You know, in the beginning I thought I couldn't do it because I was just like, oh my God, maybe I got myself into something because this is emotional time for me. But maybe there was no better time for me to start than to start, right? So I told myself, I don't give up. I'm not a person that gives up. I don't give up on myself. I don't give up on my family. I don't give up on my kids. I don't give up on my health. I'm not a person that gives up. I might be a little delayed, but I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep pushing. Ain't nothing gonna stop me. So it sounds like a beautiful friend. I think Felicia says it sounds like a beautiful friend, and I'm thankful God put you both in each other's path. Yes, I'm so thankful that I that I definitely met her. I'm really, really like beyond thankful. So yeah, so I really thank you guys. It's like my first month on this YouTube, and it's been a lot for me. Not like I feel like I can do anything. When I was younger, I worked 3 jobs, pregnant, went to school full time, right? So multitasking is not my thing. Volunteered, help companies. I do that. I have my own business. I'm always busy. My kids, all of that. Everything I'm a multitasker. But I mean, anytime I'm going through, like, when I start thinking about people, and I don't know if it's because I just wanted to share my story, and I didn't know. I don't know. It's just, I was really emotional. And, I give myself grace because I feel like I had the reason to be. And I didn't want to put my first video, I didn't want to kind of push that out to say I briefly talked about it, but I didn't think it would like hold on to me for like the whole time. Like I thought like, okay, I'll ease up, I'll be okay. But it seems like hit me a little bit harder than when I expected. Kim J said, it sounds like you spoke a word that needed to be spoken at the time in that space. She is a special sister to help you push you beyond your fears, anxiety, a God's gift, a gift from God. Yes, Kim. And yes, Felicia, we were thinking the same thing, cousin. Yeah, so, you know, that's why I said I'm thankful for each and every person. And, you know, one thing that she says is I'm very direct. And I know my approach sometimes is not everybody else's approach, but my heart is pure. Like I don't have any like animosity or anything like that. It's just like I come from a pure state. But I say what's needed to be said, and I say what my heart feels at that time. in different scenarios. And I hope that, going forth in this platform, that, people will see a piece of that. I don't know. Again, putting it on a screen was is always a little bit harder for me. But talking just as a friend and just being who I am and just relax, that's how I am here. I'm just trying to be like me. Like, this is me. This is 100% me. I don't listen. I'm a go getter at the end of the day, and if I'm gonna do something, I'm doing it to my own standards. And when it comes to certain things, if God tells me just to do this, I'm doing it. Like, that's how I feel. And for like a lot of my content and stuff like that, I haven't sat down and finished making like my certain videos for certain things that I have listed. But I'm working on it, and hopefully I get more videos out and not with less lies. But I'm going live every night because that's what God told me to do. I I don't know why. When I first put out the lies, he gave me the name and Scale and Soul, and he told me to go every night, and I'm like, I don't want to. And I was just like, I'm if you get to know me, God be telling me stuff and I be not listening. I'm like that rebellious child, I guess. I don't listen all the time. Yeah, so Felicia says, give yourself all the grace, Michelle's. It's vulnerable to put your life on here, but it doesn't go unnoticed. We all love you and support each other. Yeah, FROG, forever relying on God. Yeah, so that's the thing. And I didn't want to, and I was telling, I see purity in your heart to help and love. Yes, like I'm always here to help and to give my love to everybody, and and just like straight love, and like just be happy with yourself. And I'm gonna always be cheering you on, and I be praying for people. And listen, I be praying because I don't like to hear when something's going on. If it comes through here and it shows me that, like, God tells me to, because I asked him, I said, send me where I need to go, send me to people that I need to speak to, who needs to hear a word, who needs to be uplifted, who needs to be, who needs to push forward. Like, send me to those people, send me to them, so I can have a voice, so I can let them know they're not in this journey alone, because, if it's just one person listening, that's one person that God's allowing me to touch at any point in time. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be whoever he is. Like, when I think about those women who was in that room, there was probably, I want to say there was 25 to 30 women. You would think like the crowd is not big, but the work that was done in that little bit of time of that retreat was, it was so powerful. It was beyond powerful. She only did one. And I told her, I said, listen, we're going to have to swing that back around again, because that was just too powerful, And that was my first time, like, as an adult, going to her hometown. And I loved every bit of it, like, every bit of it. Kim J says, I was just about to say, and you put it in my mind, praying for your community and individual. Yes, I love praying, and I be going to, I like finding new content creators who's out there, who's just starting their journey and they're trying. I will go out there, I'll be praying to God. I'm like, God, send me to some new people today, like, and he sends me to new people, and I put a comment under the thing, you're doing wonderful, oh, you're great, oh, that's fun, next to that, I love your journey. Just to let them know there's people watching, and they're touching people, and I don't want them to stop. I never want them to stop. I want them to continue to go no matter what. Like, out of the goodness of your heart, be there for people. Like, be there for people and not just for yourself, because some people need others, right? And like I said, there's some people who are just always going to be sheep. Then there's some people who's leaders. I always consider myself a leader at the end of the day. So I'm going to come through like a leader. I'm going to come through and make sure you're okay. I'm going to come through and I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to come through, and whatever it is I have to do, I'm going to do, period. And I put that on everything. All right. All three of us seem like we are on the same page tonight. Yes. So I asked her to come on. We talked. I know she had to get to bed to get to work. And I said, one night you can come on, or we can schedule in a day or on a weekend, something that fits her schedule. And so you all can meet my sis. If she decides to come on and leave a comment and put her, name out there, I'll let her do that. I told her that. I said I didn't talk about you on my channel just because I don't feel like that's not me. That's not me. I like to make sure it's okay with people. I'm very big at that. Everybody has a different personality of what the things they like and don't like, and I never know what's okay. And I like to be on a even playing ground when it comes to what's okay when it comes to other people. So the respect is always given. If you give me permission, I'll do it. But if you don't give me permission, I won't do it, just because that's me. I won't do anything that. Give me 1 second. All right, you guys, I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you guys for all coming in. I thank you for being patient with me tonight. Drink me some protein water. And until tomorrow, you guys, be blessed, peace and happiness. Make sure you guys like the stream coming out. Subscribe if you choose to. Good night. Love you guys.